right. Good morning, good Tuesday, good afternoon, I guess we are. We've coming to you live here on YouTube today with the Pastor's Update.
Hey, everyone.
Holy Week, Easter week. So, Mike, how are things going?
They're going well. I think the first thing is where things are a little bit different. Isn't this a different day than we normally do this?
It is. We're moving it for Tuesday, I think, to Tuesday, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So we're catching you a day early, but we're glad that you're here with us. Thanks for joining us if you're here.
Yeah, that's worse than hour change. You know, we did it a whole day before.
Yeah, jumped it ahead.
But anyways, good to be with you guys.
Yeah.
Big week in the church.
Yeah,
big week
big
for
week.
One Hope in this post-COVID, whatever we are in now. And so, Mike, we got a bunch of stuff going on, a bunch of stuff on the website. Tell us what you've been up to.
It's Easter Sunday. If you didn't know, it's Easter Sunday, and we are so excited to be able to gather in person. I mean, I think back to last year and the scramble that we were in, and we were broadcasting, I think, from here, pre-recorded maybe content. I think it was just a blur, and we couldn't be together. We were not allowed to gather at that point. And so we are really grateful that we get to be in person and online. We'll be doing that at 10 a.m., our normal time, but we want to just bring our absolute best and want to challenge you as the church to remember that this is it's probably the biggest opportunity for inviting people into faith, into hearing the actual hope of the gospel and the message of the gospel. And I think often we can play out Easter like, okay, here's another Easter, here's another Easter. And for those of us that have been in the church for some time, it feels like kind of like we're in a cycle. But again, the opportunity exists. I mean, talking to some of my neighbors, talking to some of my friends, and people that are just willing to consider going to church on this day. And so, yeah, we want to just challenge you to invite someone. If anyone, find someone, 2 people, 3 people, and think about how significant that could be. And we've tried to make that as easy as possible. We put together a landing page at wehaveonehope.com/Easter. That's intentionally on our main website, and been going through all that today and just combing over the site to make it very clear and accessible to any guest. And so share that link, wehaveonehope.com/Easter. I think I have a little thing for you here. We've got Easter coming up, but the link is right here below, wehaveonehope.com/Easter. And so I want to encourage you, reach out, share a text with someone, invite them. I think what I'd love to say too is like, come in person. Come and join us in person. And I don't say that in any way believing that everyone is able to come in person. But what we have seen, right, in the last few weeks, I think is a return from a lot of different people. We are still being absolutely safe. We've still had mask requirement and social distancing. And by God's grace, and just because I think of those safety measures, we've had no issues and think that it's a safe place for you to bring your family. And I think we really believe that. And so we'd love to invite you to come, and maybe you've been at home and maybe this is the chance, Easter Sunday, come and join us in person. We're going to have a photo booth. And so that's another reason to come in person. Get a good Easter photo.
But this is this is not like silly photo booth. This is actually a really nice setup. And I know every year we do this on Mother's Day at least. It's been a great time to get a good family shot to send to family, even for, future Christmas card thing coming on. So
we're hoping that that's what we can provide for you and your family. And you could use that even as you invite your neighbors. I plan to say something about that to my neighbor when we kind of talk about it. So,
really, 2 times a year that you can really invite people very easily: Christmas Eve, that time frame, and then Easter.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like, expected. There is an open door for many people who maybe you normally wouldn't feel comfortable for. Hey, it's Easter.
Yeah,
I guess I could consider going to church.
Yeah.
So all the more so to see this as a strategic opportunity to finally extend that hand and say, hey,
absolutely.
Hey, are you going to do anything for Easter this week?
Yeah.
You want to come check out our Easter service at our church? So
absolutely.
I really want to encourage you, Mike, and me, Justin, and the church to take that step this week and just say, hey, what are you doing this week for Easter? You want to come check out our church?
Absolutely. And part of the Easter, experience rhythm of our church has been Good Friday. Yeah. Good Friday is different this year, but that's something I just think I want to say this. It's not really because of coronavirus. I think it's really because of planned breaks that we want to have from rhythms that we have. But we've done things differently. We've kind of diverted our attention away from a live in-person Good Friday event. And we've put together a page as well. You can access that from onehope.info or in the Church Center app. That's the easiest way to get there. I would say that the Good Friday, our experience with Good Friday, it might be something that you invite a total guest into, and it might change their life. What we found is that the typical target audience for Good Friday seems to be those already connected with our church, connected to other churches that may not be used to participating in a Good Friday event. And so I really want to champion that and say that as well to you is let's lead into Easter and realize we're in the middle of Holy Week. And so there's so much significance to this week. Yeah. Good Friday is an opportunity, and we've put together a plan for it. It's really a turnkey plan for you to participate with your group or participate with your family. The ideal scenario would be take about 50 minutes and participate in the very simplified, there's some similarity to some things we've done, some songs that you'll probably recognize if you've been here the past couple years, but very intentional, just about 50 minutes. You can do this in person. You could all participate kind of remotely if you wanted to figure that out. I think that could happen. But then we're encouraging you after you do that to make space to have conversations. The best way to do that, I think, is to have a meal. So invite people to come, do something for 50 minutes, your community group, engage in that. I don't know if there's any more you'd love to say about just like how you think a group or family could be involved.
I'd love to talk for a second. What I love is, you and I, we both believe in a worship gathering. You and I both believe that the church is not a Sunday thing. And so one of the things that, coronavirus and, the digital age that we've stepped even more into is a challenge for the church to gather outside of a Sunday and continue that life. And so even this year, we're not doing a worship gathering around Good Friday, but you've done a lot of work, and you said, here's a simple template for people to gather as little ecclesias, little gatherings, little churches to worship Jesus in their own way, in a more intimate way. And literally, we were, my family and I have got 3 daughters, first son on the way. Could happen anytime now.
Any day. We're like any day. Literally the week.
I may need to run out of here, in the next minute if I get a text.
I'll take over if we...
But my wife and I were talking, hey, what are we going to do for Good Friday? And and I was like, oh, you know what? There's a site. Mike put together a site. So I literally read through it with her, and I said, oh, here's what we can do on Good Friday. And there's some kids' activities and some... what do you call it when you're actually like engaging with your hands and or you're actually
like
doing
hands
something.
On,
yeah. And then, we thought, it is Holy Week. So there's other opportunities too. Some of you have heard about the Seder meal, which would be the Passover meal on Thursday night. You could simply Google that and have a little Seder meal and walk through the symbolism of the Passover meal and how that was all pointing to Jesus. And then I posted on the church group, and you can just go to the Gospel Coalition website, and I think it's like Easter week, real time, and you could go through each day. This is what we're doing, and say, okay, Tuesday, here's what was happening. Read a couple scriptures, and actually follow along the story of Jesus the last week. So we really, I think, want to move towards not just an Easter thing. That is the big thing, not even just a Good Friday thing, but maybe moving back into even the liturgy of here's a Holy Week, and let's just set aside this week and all the chaos and everything going on, and let's remember what was happening and why this is so important.
Yeah, I think just jumping off of that, I mean, it's the conclusion of Lent. The reason we talked about Lent was to look even further ahead, and maybe to someone else. We've been talking about how Easter, for someone else that doesn't go to church, this is a great one-time opportunity that, they're big time that they might end up coming. But for us that are already part of the rhythms of the church, I think that there's so much more richness there that we've yet to explore. So I just, agree with all of that and think that that's what we'd love to invite you into. Now, what else is significant happening in the life of our church tomorrow night?
So this is great. And I think maybe we have a graphic on there. I still see the Easter graphic. But tomorrow, Wednesday, is the 150th day of 150 days of prayer. So we have been praying as a church, and many individuals have prayed one of those days over the last 150 days, And we're bringing it all to an end, to a conclusion here tomorrow night, where you and I are going to come here and we're going to lead a prayer service. Really want to invite the church to join us for this last one. I mean, it'll be on Zoom, so we can fit as many as we can. If we get a lot, we could break into rooms and all pray. And we're praying for the same things we've been praying for 150 days, for a spiritual health of our church. And I know you and I, we've been having some great conversations at the elder level, assessing where we're at and where we want to go. And I really believe God is moving and answering this prayer for us and in the church. And we believe that that's going to lead to revival here, a spiritual awakening in East Orlando. Yeah. And most tangibly, praying for a building. Yeah. And, God could do that. And so we're gonna close this 150 days tomorrow big, in the same way that we have been, just praying, just calling out for God to move. And so there's a Zoom link. It's on Church Center. You can join us 8:30. Yeah. 8:30 p.m. to 9:15. Yeah. And we would love for you to just join us. And let's close together as the church praying for these things.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really interesting how I think there's a convergence happening here of the end of that, long season of prayer and asking God for things together, and Easter week. I don't think that's an accident, and we planned some of that, but I do think that God is moving. But a lot of that.
But it was kind of unplanned because, when we first came up with 150 days, I don't think you and I had necessarily forecasted where that would land. We found out later that it would land here in the middle of Holy Week as, Lent culminates, as we're moving up to Easter. So it was kind of a neat providential thing that just kind of came together.
Yeah. So. God is definitely moving. And I just feel like I should mention that, Sunday, we just had a Sunday service together that if you were there in person, hopefully if you were online, you could feel that. But the energy was just different. The Spirit was moving. And so I'm excited because I think that, we believe that prayer actually is something that changes things. It changes us and very much can change the situation because God can do anything. And so just want to say that again and invite you into that. Kind of as we wrap up, right, there's a lot going on in our church, a lot of different things. And one thing that we're going to bring you more information about a different time is actually some transitions in our staff, and these are good transitions. These are planned transitions. The one I want to mention today is Megan is our ministry assistant. She has been so essential to this team. I mean, we brought her on a few years ago, and she was a student, moving toward a degree, which that's the reason that she's making a transition as she's about to graduate.
She's excited to graduate.
She's very excited to graduate. She's ready to be done with school.
We hear about it in our staff meetings.
But we would not be where we are as a church without Megan. And so I just want to say that to Megan, for you all to know that we really believe in bringing on people that are strong team members, and Megan has been just the example of that to us, and we're grateful for her and her service. Again, she and I, full conversation about this, but the plan is that at the end of April, that she would transition into another position. She's not planning to leave the church. She's still going to probably be visible in some other places that we're working out, but that means that we have a ministry assistant position that is open. You can go to wehaveonehope.com. I think I'm being kind of slow with my graphics here today. wehaveonehope.com/jobs and check that out now. We'll bring you more information. I think we'd love to spend some time maybe even with Megan here on a video or two and just let her share her heart. But we wanted to get that out there now because we're about to be at the 1 month mark. And so if you're interested or want to learn more, go ahead and check that out.
Do you want to say anything about specifically what you're hoping for in that position?
Yeah.
I guess what we're hoping for.
Yeah, ministry assistant can be a little bit vague, and I think at the core level, it's a support role. It's a support role, but we believe in giving this person a seat at the table on the team, not just somebody that we're going to hand tasks to, but somebody that will think in terms of supporting the ministry of One Hope Church as a whole. Some specific ways that happens. Primarily, this is the person that's like the point person for helping people take their next steps, for helping people make choices to move into the community of the church, to move closer to Jesus. We're still involved pastorally in that process, but this is the point of contact. So we're looking for a person absolutely that's friendly, kind, wants to interact with people. And then really over the last year, some of the things that have evolved and become more specific relate to communications. And so Megan has been handling a lot of the communications with social media and things like that, and we want to take that to the next level as well. So we're also looking for a person, so thinking in terms of communicating with people and helping them take their next steps, really managing different layers of communication. Doesn't mean doing all of it, because we have some other great volunteers. We have opportunities we want to see filled to broaden that team. And then really there are some admin tasks, in caring for our office space and schedules of calendars and things like that. But
can I ask you a couple more questions on that?
Go for it.
Let me just put you on the spot.
All right, go for it.
It's fun. Tell me, Mike, why are next steps so critical to being One Hope Church?
Well, first of all, when someone decides to take a next step, it's a very significant thing for us. We want to recognize that you have a lot going on in your life. If you're a person that's considering involvement in the church, already involved, your time is precious, your energy is precious. And so when you feel the Spirit compelling you to take a next step, and we use that language on purpose because often it's cloudy to figure out, okay, here's all these things that I could do within the church to get involved and to do that. We really just want everyone, and we say it all the time, to be taking their next step. So don't be taking someone else's 10 steps ahead. Be taking their next step. Now, how this role is important is that when someone decides to do that, we want to just be right there, and we want to honor that in how quickly we respond and how much resource and care and effort we give into that. I love how really our Next Steps form has been put together. It says on there, that I'm interested in serving or interested in joining a group, and that's really all that we kind of ask from you on the front end, and then the conversation starts. And that's really what I think we believe about a lot of things here at One Hope, is that there's a conversation to be had, not just a one-size-fits-all thing. We want to hear, what are you passionate about? What's your schedule like? If you're trying to join a group, how do we make that as easy as possible? Even though we know it's going to be a sacrifice, we want to make it as easy as possible. And so this person is really a hands-on caretaker of people through that process.
Yeah, and has heart to see them continue in their spiritual growth. Yeah. And so, we kind of have a broad, here's where someone, starts attending church, hopefully they're a believer, become a believer, partnership would be a next step, and then leadership. And so there's kind of some broad categories, but really helping people. What is that for you? How can we help you step into who God's made you to be with the opportunities that we have in the church and the mission we believe that God's given us to? And so it's really valuable in a lot of ways. It's such a critical pathway in our church. So we can help people really be who God's called them to be.
Absolutely.
And so I think we share that vision. We want to see that happen. One of the other things you said was, the social media and, obviously, there's been we were already in the digital, but obviously there's been a shift for us in COVID.
Absolutely,
But tell me, Mike, why is our digital footprint so important? Not just because of where we've been the last year, but moving forward, why should we care about that?
Yeah, I think it fits part of the bigger picture of communication in general, and what I believe is important. Our culture is changing all of the time. We've seen that maybe more than ever in 2020, not just with coronavirus, but so many other things that have gone on that have divided us and changed the conversations and things that we, the way we communicated before might not even be appropriate anymore in certain spheres. And so I want us to see communication through a lens of care and trying to care for people. We want to connect with them ultimately, and we want to connect them with God. That's what we really want. To be able to do that, we have to use some tactics for that, and that's really where social and all those things, we're not just on there to be on there. We believe that people are on there. People have accounts on these platforms, and they're looking for things. They're searching for things, and they're scrolling past things and removing things that they don't want to see. And so we don't want to add to noise. We want to be part of valuable content in their life. And obviously, we believe that it's not just valuable self-help tips or anything like that. It's hope for your soul. It's hope for your life and for your future and your family and all these things, that Jesus is the only one that offers those things. And so we want to meet people where they are, and then we want to help them move in that direction. And so It's really a platform. It's a tool. We've said that all throughout 2020. We talked about how you could leverage your own social media, your own presence in the world, in whatever spheres. We're so accustomed to thinking in terms of our physical spheres. But if we thought of all of who we are, our whole footprint, how when I'm around people digitally or in person, am I impacting them for the gospel as somebody who believes it's what's best for them?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Good. Well, I know that is close to your heart. Yeah. I enjoy hearing about it. That's probably enough content for today.
We've covered quite a bit. It's Easter week. We're excited, and we love having these conversations with you. The last thing I would say is just to actually be very intentional about sharing this broadcast, sharing this update. And that's one of the reasons we've shifted it over to YouTube, is because it makes it much easier. As soon as we're finished, we've got a YouTube link, a replay. It can go beyond Facebook. You can share it with your friends, share it in your group, watch it as a group, whatever you feel like the best thing is. We're trying to keep this. We went a little bit longer today than we normally do, about 20 minutes now, but that's okay. Yeah. We're trying to keep it to 15 minutes so that it's a nice palatable thing where you can feel connected to the church. So Thanks for talking, Justin, and asking those questions.
Sure.
And it's always fun because we have like a loose script and then we see where it goes from there.
We see where it goes.
Yeah.
All right.
But thanks for joining us today.
And happy Easter. We'll see you on Sunday.
We're so excited. Have a great rest of the day.